let us continue from what we had done in the last class. In the last class, we completed deriving the power spectral density for polar NRZ line code. So in polar NRZ, we know that logical 1 is represented with plus A and logical 0 with minus A. And the equation for the polar NRZ x of t is as shown here. And the amplitudes AK, we need the amplitudes which would be plus A minus A, similar to this equation. And the probability, we always assume all the symbols to occur with equal probability. So probability of a 0 and 1 we assume to be equal, so it should be half for both. And then we would calculate the autocorrelation function. Usually we calculate the autocorrelation function as two parts. First part, we consider n as 0 and we'll calculate RA of 0 and we'll get some value. For the second part, for n not equal to 0, for any other values of n other than 0, we will try to determine AK into AK minus n, the product. We need that product to find the ACR, autocorrelation function. Again, we will consider all the occurrences to be equiprobable. So if there are 4 possibilities, because there are 2 bits, 4 possibilities means all will occur with probability 1 by 4. And then we found the value of RA of n, which would be for n greater than n not equal to 0. Okay, and it turned out to be 0. So we could get the value of the autocorrelation function here. So summarizing, you got the expression for autocorrelation function. And then from that, we know how to find the PSD. We are using the standard equation to find the power spectral density. Power spectral density is found as the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function. Since the autocorrelation function is defined for discrete symbols and discrete times, we are going to take summation instead of integral in the Fourier transform. So this is the expression of the Fourier transform. And we have the actual symbol which we considered to be time shifted version of the rectangular signal. So that signals we called as V of t. Its Fourier transform will be V of f and its power spectral density will be V of f square by t. Remember, uh, given, please remember that given V of t is a function in time domain, in the frequency domain it would be V of f, and whenever I try to find power spectral density, it will always be V of f into V of f conjugate divided by the total time period t. We'll consider V of f and V of f conjugate to be the same. So magnitude, when I consider, I'll get V of f square by t. That is the power spectral density of the given rectangular pulse V of t. Okay. And we have already written what is the value of that power spectral density also. We know V of f is, if this is a rect function, V of f will be a sinc function. So we have that will be, if V of t is rect, V of f is sinc function as shown. We'll be substituting all the values here and simplify. We got the expression for power spectral density and then we tried to represent it graphically. We know a sinc function looks like this. Sinc square will look like this, all on the positive side, you will not have negative, and therefore Sx of f, which is a square tb into sinc square ftb, will look like this. So at every 1 by tb value, it would go to 0. The value of this power spectral density would become 0. Similarly, we started for unipolar NRZ. Unipolar means the waveform has only one polarity. So plus 1 for what? Logic 1 and 0 for logic 0. So this represents the unipolar NRZ functions. And then how do I write the equation? The equation x of t, or I can directly say the amplitudes AK can be written as plus A for logic 1 and 0 for logic 0. Both will be in the interval between 0 to TB. Okay. Since we have only two binary symbols 0 and 1, naturally their probabilities will be equal. We'll consider both to be equiprobable. Considering both to be equiprobable, P of 1 is equal to P of 0 is half. Okay. Now once we have this initial, this is the initial thing, finding AK and finding the probability Pi. The next thing is to find the autocorrelation function. To find the autocorrelation function, we know we should use this relation, product of AK into AK minus N into Pi. Again, we usually find for N is equal to 0 and then for N not equal to 0. For N is equal to 0, we tried to find it. We got RA of 0 as, since there are two possibilities only, what are the two possibilities? The value of AK can either be plus A or it can be 0. We have only two possibilities for AK, either plus A or 0. And here this product becomes AK into AK because N is 0. And the probabilities we have listed, we got the autocorrelation function for N is equal to 0 as A square by 2. Okay. Then for N not equal to 0, as usual, with two discrete symbols, we'll have four possible combinations. So remember, we are not considering these symbols should be adjacent. They can be anywhere. N can be anything which is not 0, that's all. So the two symbols need not be adjacent and their values can vary as either 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 or 1, 1. And if I substitute the values of the amplitudes AK, we know that when the symbol is 0 in unipolar NRZ, the amplitudes are 0. When the symbol is 1, the amplitude is plus A. Okay, whenever the symbol is 1, you saw the amplitude is plus A. Whenever it is 0, you see it is 0. So next we'll take the product. The first three products will be 0. The last one is plus A into plus A, which will be plus A square. Again, we'll consider all these four combinations can occur with equal probability. So the probability of occurrence of each of them we'll consider as 1 by 4. Finally, RA of N we are going to find out. And when we find RA of N, we'll be getting what? 0 into 1 by 4, all each of this product into 1 by 4. That's all I'm trying to find. AK into AK minus N into Pi. So all this, the last two columns I should multiply. 0 into 1 by 4 3 times, A square into 1 by 4 last time. So final answer would be A square by 4. So what did we get? RA of N is equal to A square by 2 for N is equal to 0 and A square by 4 for N not equal to 0. Okay. So we did this. Next is to find the PSD. So we are trying to find the PSD. We are using the standard equation for PSD. We know that the power spectral density Sx of F is given as, I told you what is this, the power spectral density of the rectangular pulse. See, the first part represents power spectral density of V of t, the rectangular pulse. And the next one represents the power spectral density of the autocorrelation or the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function. So this is nothing but Fourier transform of ACR. So we know that ACR and power spectral density are inverse are Fourier transform pairs. So let us substitute the values. Let us consider, usually we'll consider at t is equal to TB, and what will happen to V of f? We know if V of t is rect T by T, V of f is TB sync FTB, right? We have used this. Next, what should I do? Substitute and simplify. Therefore, substitute here Sx of f is equal to 1 by TB from this into TB sync FTB whole square, and here I have only two values of n. One is RA of 0 and the other is what? If I take RA of 0, you know what happens here? RA of 0 into e to the power of 0, this one. And remember, it's a summation. So I'm just taking the n0 value outside the summation. Next, I'll keep the summation. Let's say n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, but with n not equal to 0. N is equal to 0 value I have extracted outside. N not equal to 0 I am keeping. This is e to the power of minus j2 pi n f tb, correct? Into what's the value of RA of n for n not equal to 0? How much did we get? A square by 4. So I'll multiply that into a square by 4. Now we have to go on simplifying this in steps. So this 1 by TB and TB square cancels. So I will have a single TB in the numerator and sync square FTB. Okay. And what is RA of 0? RA of 0 is this one, n is equal to 0, a square by 2. So RA of 0 would be a square by 2 plus into e power 0 is 1 plus a square by 4. I'll put it outside because it does not have any n there. So if I take a square by 4 outside the summation, inside the summation I'll have n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, but n not equal to 0. E power minus j2 pi fn tb. Okay. Now, in order to simplify this, I'll try to just add plus 1 and minus 1 into this. See, will it make any difference if I just add plus 1 and minus 1? Will it make any difference?
No.
Okay, so it won't make any difference. The reason why we do it is, so I have TB sync square FTB into a square by 2 into a square by 4. Can I write this plus 1 as e power 0? If we write this plus 1 as e power 0, what will happen now in this summation? I can take the summation from n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, and I need not write the condition n not equal to 0 here, because n equal to 0 means it turns out to be plus e power 0, which is already considered. Okay. So I'll take this and minus j2 pi nf tb and minus 1, because this means that it is e power 0 and I have taken that into consideration in this summation. Are you following this step? Please tell me if you don't follow. Listen carefully here. See, in this step, we have only e power minus j2 pi nf tb. Now, here the summation will be something like this. The summation is n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, but it shouldn't be 0 because n is equal to 0 value we have already considered here. This is for n is equal to 0. Now, if I want to include n0 also in this summation, I can do a simple manipulation by adding and subtracting 1 so that the value shouldn't change. So actual value will not change, but by adding this 1, I have also included the e power 0 term. So in my summation now, I need not write n not equal to 0. I can directly list n ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity along with n is equal to 0, because I know when n is equal to 0, I'll get plus e power 0, which I have included. So the other thing which is left out was minus 1. I will write it here. I hope this is clear. See, in spite of telling multiple times, you people are joining as and when you want. This is really bad. After 20 minutes, you people will join the class. So here, simplify this further. This is not as simple as the previous case. You see, now what will this be? I have the first term outside the bracket as it is. I'll not go on writing this again and again. A square by 2 plus a square by 4. Okay, a square by 4. I'll keep it as it is. N is equal to minus infinity e power minus j2 pi nf tb minus 1. Now if I multiply this term outside to the term inside, a square tb by 2 sinc square ftb. First term would be this outside, tb sinc square ftb plus a square tb by 4, this one, into sinc square ftb, correct? Summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power of minus j 2 pi nf tb minus a square. This minus 1 I am multiplying with a square by 4 and this. So what will I get? Minus a square by 4 tb sinc square ftb. See, this term does not have any n. So I need not keep it inside the summation. This summation is applicable only where there is an n. So this term which does not have any n can be brought out of the summation. So what will I get when I simplify? The first term and this last term. I'll bring this term outside, means this will be minus a square tb by 4 sinc square ftb plus a square tb by 4 sinc square ftb into summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power of minus j2 pi nf tb. So can I combine these two and simplify? See, whatever was minus 1 after multiplying with a square by 4 and tb sinc square ftb, I got this. And since there is no n in this term, I have brought it outside the summation and I'm trying to combine it with the first term because both are similar. Is that clear? So what would you get there?
Ma'am,
Yeah,
why did you multiply with the -1 that a square by 4 thing? A
this
square
one.
by 4 summation. This
Huh?
next step, ma'am. A square by 4 summation thing. Why did you multiply with -1?
There is a -1 inside here, no?
It was +1 and -1 added with the sum. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
That plus
Huh.
one I removed here.
Yes, ma'am. I understood now.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I got this. And I'm bringing it out of the summation because there is no end term here. Okay. Now you combine these two, you will get a square TB. What would I get when I sinc square FTB is common. Sinc square FTB is common. A square TB by 2 minus a square TB by 4. What would you get? I'll get a square TB by 4. Yes or no? See, just try to do subtraction of a square TB by 2 minus a square TB by 4. That's all I'm trying to do here. The second term is common. So when I subtract this, I'm going to get a square TB by 4, right? It's direct. I need not plus. The second term is a square TB by 4 sinc square FTB and summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power of minus j2 pi nf tb. Let me call this equation number 6. Okay. Now this term inside this summation can be simplified or analyzed using Poisson's formula. Do you remember the Poisson's summation formula? Recall. If you don't remember, please write down. Recall the Poisson's sum formula, which states that summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power of minus j2 pi nf t naught or tb, whatever let's take. Since I have tb, I'll write it here. This can be given as summation m ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, delta function, delta f minus m by tb, and the whole thing divided by 1 by tb. This is known as the Poisson sum formula, where I can replace the summation of any impulse, I mean any exponential like this. Summation from minus infinity to plus infinity can be taken as the sum of a set of shifted impulses. As you can see, remember this equation. You have to recall this equation. It is a well-known equation known as the Poisson sum formula. So we will use this using equation 7 in 6. What do we get? I get Sx of f is equal to a square tb by 4 sinc square ftb, the first term, right? This one, the first term. The second term is a square tb by 4, again sinc square, or shall I take it as a common factor? Between the first and second term, you see this is common. Yes or no? This is common in both. So I can take it out as a common factor. So I'll have into 1 plus, I'll take this as into 1 plus. And what should I replace for this summation? In the second term, I have summation of the exponential. Using Poisson sum formula, I'll replace that summation with 1 by TB summation m ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity delta f minus m by TB. Is that okay? So I have used this summation of exponentials converted to summation of impulse functions using the Poisson formula, and I have taken this amplitude a square TB by 4 sinc square FTB as the common factor among both. So I'll be getting this equation. Now, what else can I do in the next step? This will be a square TB by 4 sinc square FTB, and okay, let me keep this as common later, maybe in the next step, because it will be easy if I plot and try to find out. So let me take the common, I'll multiply it again, a square TB by 4 sinc square FTB into 1 by TB summation m is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity impulse. Okay, so whatever I had taken as common, I have multiplied it again. So this TB cancels, and this result, if I should find, it is better to plot a graph. Okay, so we will try to find this. I'll say, you just say the value of the second term, can be determined graphically rather than this one. So let us try to plot the graph of, I'll try to find what is the graph of sinc square FTB. We already know how sinc square looks. Yes or no? We had drawn it before, if you remember, somewhere. Yeah, here, sinc square FTB. How does it look? If I draw one side, it will be from 1 to 1 by TB, so on. So let me consider that sinc square FTB, which would look like this: 1 by TB starting from 1, 2 by TB, 3 by TB, so on. Okay, remember this is FTB. Next, I'll try to plot the summation which we have using that Poisson's relation, delta F minus m by TB. What is the value of this summation? So here, if I have to consider m ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so what is the value of this summation at, when m becomes 0, I will have delta of f. I will have one impulse at 0. Just plot this. Consider for various values of m. When m is 1, I'll get delta f minus 1 by TB. So where will that impulse lie? See, go on substituting different values of m. Okay. So where will this, if m is 1, I'll get delta f minus 1 TB. It would give you a right shifted impulse, correct, at 1 by TB. Similarly, if I put m as m as minus 1, I'll get one impulse here. So if I had written this graph on the left hand side also, I should write the complete impulses. Here I am writing it only on the right hand side. So Please remember you will get impulses here also, and okay, to show you for the sake of completion, this graph will be there on both sides. So if I write on both sides, I can show the impulses both. At 2 by TB, I will have the next impulse. Put m is equal to plus 2, you'll have the next impulse there. At 3 by TB, you will have the next impulse, and so on this side also. Okay. So this is the graph for what? Delta F minus MTB summation. So we have written the graph for both what? Sinc square FTB and delta summation delta. So what is it which I have here in this second term? It is the product of sinc square FTB with this delta function. Okay, the magnitude will be a square by 4, but otherwise this sinc square FTB gets multiplied with this summation of impulses. So can I multiply these two easily from these graphs? What do you think you would get the result? Somebody tell me. Looking at these two graphs, what would be the resultant plot?
Delta functions with varying amplitudes.
See properly. Observe what is the value of the delta function in this sinc square
Only at
FTB.
0, ma'am.
Okay, only at 0 it will be.
Yes, you would get only this one. At 0, there is an impulse and the value of this sinc function is 1. So you can expect an impulse only at 0. Okay. And at all the other impulses you see are multiplied with zeros. So whenever the sinc function was 0, there was an impulse in the second case. So whenever I multiply this impulse with a 0, I'm going to get zeros, no impulses. So if you observe carefully, you will see the product of, so what is this? This is the product of sinc square FTB with summation of the impulses delta F minus m by TB for m ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity. So we have an impulse only at 0, delta of F I can call, and it is 0 elsewhere. Now I will use this result in this equation 8. So let us substitute this result only at equation 8. You say, therefore, the product of sinc square FTB with delta F minus m by TB, m ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, is delta of F. Okay. I'll call this 9. Using 9 in equation 8, what do I get? The power spectral density Sx of F. The first term was a square TB by 4, I think. Sinc square FTB plus, see this first term a square TB by 4 sinc square FTB. In the second term, I'm left only with a square by 4. And we know sinc square FTB into this summation would result in delta of F. So what is left in the second term is just a square by 4 into delta of F. Okay. Is this clear to you? This simplification can be done easily graphically. So rather than trying to determine this using equations mathematically, if you plot a graph of both these, very clearly you can see what would be the product. So we did it using that. Now I'll take the common factor between the two. A square by 4 into TB sinc square FTB plus delta of F is the power spectral density equation. Okay. For what? Unipolar NRZ. This is equation 10. So this will be the final equation. Let us try to plot this. So we have to plot the power spectral density curve in the end. So as usual, I'll take FTB. First thing is I have to plot sinc square FTB. We know sinc square FTB. I'll plot a one-sided plot. It would look something like this. It would come and touch 0 at 1 by TB, and here the amplitude would be 1. I'm just showing sinc square FTB. But if I multiply this into a square by 4 into TB, so the amplitude of this sinc square FTB, I have to continue this. This is 2 by TB, 3 by TB, so on. This goes. So this is the plot of the first part. How do I plot the second part of this signal? So what is the second part? It is just an impulse. The second part of this is an impulse at 0. So I have to just plot an impulse at 0 with amplitude a square by 4. What does this mean physically? What does an impulse at 0 mean as a physical signal? What type of signal would it be? In the frequency domain, if it was an impulse, what would it mean in the time domain? You remember impulse in the, what are the Fourier transform pairs? A constant one, a DC signal in the time domain would be replaced with an impulse in the frequency domain. You have forgotten all this. A constant or DC signal in time domain would be an impulse in the frequency domain. Therefore, whenever you have an impulse in the frequency domain, it means it represents a DC value in the time domain. So please understand, this unipolar NRZ signal is affected by DC. We had already discussed this. Looking at the waveform only, we can say that there will always be some DC value in this signal because it is one-sided. Only positive amplitudes are there. So the average value or DC value always exists. The same thing is shown after we analyzed and found the power spectral density. So you can just try to state the advantages and disadvantages. Therefore, what is the advantage of unipolar NRZ? It is very easy to not analyze, let me say easy to write and generate. Say whenever I have to generate such unipolar NRZ signals, I can simply use a, so you can easily generate unipolar NRZ signals using transistors like switches easily. You can use simple transistor switches to generate such unipolar NRZ waveforms. Disadvantages is, I think first one is there is wastage of power due to DC signal, power due to presence of DC signal. This a square by 4 delta of f is the DC signal. Okay. And what else will happen? As usual, we want this power level near 0 to be almost 0. We want this power level to get shifted. But here also at 0, it is maximum. You can just say the power spectrum power spectrum is not equal to 0 near 0 frequency. So surely we have to use DC coupling. DC coupling circuits are needed here. Are needed whenever we try to use NRZ unipolar. Is this clear? Do you have any doubts with this derivation? Please ask if you have
No,
any doubts. If not, we'll move on to the next one. Okay. So I hope you got the idea. We did 2 already. So the third one, we should be able to do it a little fast. Let's try to do bipolar NRZ. Power spectral density of bipolar NRZ waveform. So can you draw the bipolar NRZ and write the equation? First step. Step 1, draw the waveform and define the equation and amplitudes. The time domain waveform. You remember the other name for this? Okay, I'll give you the clue. Alternate mark invert we call. So I think you should be able to recall fast. Bipolar means automatically understand there will be 2 polarity signals. So what happens here? Can somebody tell me? One is represented with
Plus say the plus
Positive,
first time, then 0 at 0. Next one is minus a, ma'am.
yes, you're right. So second time I get 1, I should represent with minus a. First time I get it, it is plus a. Again, if I get 1 again successively, it should be inverted. Every time you get a 0, it will be represented with 0 volts, but 1 will be represented alternatively with plus a and minus a, as you can see. So please remember the bit duration is TB everywhere. This is called bipolar NRZ, alternate mark invert. So let me list x of t or ak. The equation, how should I write? We'll say it is plus or minus a for logic 1, and in the interval 0 to TB, and its value is 0 for logic 0. Again in the same interval 0 less than equal to t less than TB. Is this fine? So logic 1 is always represented with plus a or minus a, whereas logic 0 is represented with 0 volts always. This is our bipolar NRZ. Now, as usual, we can assume the second part is getting the probabilities. Here we got the amplitudes AK. So we'll get the probabilities. Assuming both 0 and 1 occur with equal probability. Okay, what should I consider? Here I'll have one additional case. Probability that AK is equal to 0 will be half, and probability that AK will be equal to plus or minus A will also be half. This is probability of occurrence of a 0. This is probability of occurrence of a 1. But here, if I take it in this form, I can split this into 2 more. What would be the probability of occurrence of plus A, and what would be the probability of occurrence of minus A? Again, assuming these two also are equiprobable. Yes? See, the occurrence of zeros and ones are equiprobable, but one is represented with 2 values, 2 voltage levels, plus A and minus A. So I will have to consider what is the probability that plus A occurs and what is the probability that minus A occurs. So we are considering that the number of ones also will be even. Okay, you'll say number of ones generated will be even. When it is even, what happens? The number of times it will be getting plus A and minus A will be equal. So how much will this be? This will be half divided by 2 or 1 by 4 and 1 by 4. It is half of half. This would be half of half. Yes or no? The probability that it is a 1 is half. This is a conditional probability. Probability that it is plus A into probability that it is a 1. So it is a conditional probability. Okay, it will be half into half, which will be 1 by 4. I hope you got this. Okay, so please remember how you have to consider. In each of them, we are trying to insert something new. Each of the derivations, we are putting something new. So you list this as equation 2. Okay. So assuming both zeros and ones occur with equal probability, we'll have the probability of occurrence of AK as 0, AK as plus or minus A, and in that I'll separate out these two. So now we are done with step 1. Let's move to step 2. Step 2 is to find what? The autocorrelation functions. As usual, we know we define what? Rn of tau as summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity ak into ak minus n into the probability pi. Yes or no? This is the definition of the ACR function. Now, as usual, we'll consider the various cases. When n is equal to 0, what happens? So when n is equal to 0, I'm going to get RA, we call it, no? Okay. RA of 0 is, what are the two possibilities you'll get? It can either be, so it will be AK into AK into, I'll write it. So this is going to be summation AK square into Pi for n ranging, here n is 0. N is 0. So what happens? You just list the amplitudes possible for AK. AK can be 0 into 0. Okay. Yes or no? What are the possibilities? What are the amplitude values I can have? Look at the amplitude values. AK can be 0, or AK can take on the value of plus A, or AK can take on the value of minus A. There are three possibilities here. I think it's better you write down. Before writing this, you say there are three possible values for AK, which are 0, plus A and minus A. So you can have three different values for AK. So what would you get? If you take AK as 0, you will get 0 into 0. Okay. And what is the probability? So I should have AK square into Pi. What is the probability of a 0? Did we write the probability of AK being 0? Half. See here, we already have this probability of AK being a 0 is half. So here in the first case, I'll substitute AK value as 0 into 0 and the probability Pi is half. In the second case, AK can take on the value plus A. So this will be plus A into plus A. Okay, it should be the same, AK into AK square. So plus A into plus A, what is the probability of occurrence of plus A? That's why we wrote this. Probability of occurrence of plus A is 1 by 4th. Okay. And the last case, AK can take on the value minus A into minus A, and even its probability of occurrence is 1 by 4th. So I have the summation of all the three possible values for AK. That's why you should understand clearly what are the values that this amplitude AK can have. It can have 0, plus A or minus A. And when the probabilities, when it is a 0, it is half. For plus A, it will be 1 by 4th. For minus A, 1 by 4th. So what is this value I am going to get? Therefore, RA of 0 would be equal to what? A square by 4 minus into minus plus A square by 4, which turns out to be A square by 2, right? So you will get A square by 2 for RA of 0. Likewise, can you try to find, I'll call this equation 3. In this case, rather than finding for n is not equal to 0 directly, we need one more case here for n is equal to plus or minus 1. Can you tell me why I am considering this case here? Always we considered n is equal to 0 and n not equal to 0 when we did all the previous analysis. Yes or no? To find the ACR function, we always took two conditions, n is equal to 0, n not equal to 0 in both the previous cases. But here I am taking one more additional condition, that n should be plus or minus 1. Can you think of the reason why it should be like that? Okay, look at this waveform and look at the equation. You can clearly see that when I have the bit value as 1, I can have either positive amplitude or negative amplitude for the bit value 1. That's why I will consider what is the case for n is equal to plus or minus 1, and I will try to find the value for RA of 1. Okay, RA of 1 you can find out, and you will clearly show here RA of 1 will be equal to RA of minus 1. It's always the case. The autocorrelation function of plus 1 and minus 1 will be equal. What does it mean? It means it is an even function. So the ACR is an even function. Can you find the values of AK? Here I should consider adjacent bits, AK and AK minus 1. Consider how many possible combinations can I have for adjacent bits. Since it is 2 bits, I will always have 2 square 4 combinations. Please remember, whenever it is 2 bits, 4 combinations. The combinations can be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. I want you to list the AK and AK minus 1 values and the product and probabilities. Always we will consider all the 4 to be equiprobable. So whatever you get, I just want you to find these two columns. Remember, AK for 0, 0, it is 0. 0, if this one is represented with what? plus or minus a. You will get 0 plus or minus a, 0. This is also 0. And when this is 1, if this is plus or minus a, the next adjacent bit is a 1. If this is a 1 and if it is represented as plus a, the next adjacent one will be represented as minus a. So I'll write it like this. When this first bit was plus a, the adjacent bit was minus a. When, if at all this first bit was minus a, the adjacent bit would have been plus a. So what would be the product now? Plus a into minus a, it will be minus a square. Minus a into plus a will again be minus a square. So either case, I'm going to get it as minus of a square. Please see here, we are not adding, it is just the product. So if I have plus a here, I will have minus a here. If I have minus a here, I will have plus a here. So what will happen when I multiply? Plus a into minus a, if I multiply also, I'll get minus a square. Or if I multiply this case also, it can be either this or that. Either of this or this. So either case, you're going to get minus a square. So try to find this.